Buenas tardes. South Carolina Democrats, it's great to be with you. Thank you for your kindness, for the warmth, for the hospitality that you have shown to us. Our gratitude to all these great supporters and volunteers who are making this campaign possible, and for the knowledge that at the end of the day, come summer of 2020, we will all be behind the same nominee to make sure that she or he is successful against Donald Trump and successful in bringing this great country back together again. I bring you greetings from my hometown of El Paso, Texas, which with Ciudad Juarez forms the largest binational community in the Western Hemisphere. 3 million from 2 countries, speaking 2 languages, joined, not separated by the Rio Grande River, to form something far greater and more powerful than the sum of our parts or the number of people. El Paso, Texas is one of the safest cities in the United States of America. Safe, not despite the fact that we are a city of immigrants and asylum seekers and refugees. Safe because we are a city of asylum seekers and immigrants and refugees. Their very presence makes us stronger and safer and more successful than we would be otherwise. And yet, despite those facts and that truth which we know right now as we enjoy our freedom here in this democracy in Columbia, South Carolina, in my hometown of El Paso, in a Border Patrol detention center, there are children sleeping on cold concrete floors with aluminum foil for blankets in the worst, most inhumane conditions. This is the same administration and government that placed those kids in cages, deported their mothers back from the very countries from which they fled, and has lost the lives of 6 children who are in the custody of this country. That cannot be us. That cannot be America. But for as long as this man is in office, it will be. So we must do everything we can to ensure that we live up to the full character and potential and promise of this country. We must heed the words of Robert Kennedy, who in 1967, at a time of division and polarization, reminded us that no matter our differences, we share one precious possession, and that is the name American. But to be an American, he said, is to have been a stranger, an outcast, to have come to the exile's country, and to know that he who denies the outcast or the stranger, he also denies America. So at this moment of truth, which will define us forever after, let us not deny America. Let us celebrate and embrace America. And let us make sure that whether you just got here and you're at the U.S.-Mexico border, or whether you are here in South Carolina, that your story is part of the American story. On one of our first visits to a middle school in Bluffton, we listened to the stories of public school educators who already labor under high-stakes, standardized tests that in no way effectively measure their performance or the potential of the children in front of them, who have already sacrificed so much and yet await what many think is the inevitable moment when an active shooter walks into that classroom and takes the life of that child who they've struggled to improve so much already. We need to make sure that those teachers who told me they're working 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet right now are treated with the respect and the dignity that they deserve, are paid a living wage, and are allowed to focus on just one job: unlocking the lifelong love of learning inherent within every single child so that they and we can achieve our full potential. Going to Voorhees College in Denmark and listening to students who tell me about a water system from which they cannot drink. We do not lack for resources in the wealthiest, the most powerful country on the face of the planet. only the political will to invest in their safety and the public health in Denmark, in Flint, in the Central Valley of California, in every community where the air is too dirty to breathe and the water is unsafe to drink. Let us meet their story with our commitment to make that investment in infrastructure and public health for every single American, including clean drinking water. And then, marching in Charleston with Miss Louise Brown, who 50 years ago, in 1969, led the strike at MUSC with other hospital workers who were denied the respect and equal treatment that they have deserved, who is marching again in 2019 because those hospital workers today, despite delivering care for those patients in that hospital, are unable to afford the care in that hospital. Louise Brown and all of us stand for guaranteed, high-quality, universal health care for every single American, meeting their stories with our action and our commitment. And then in Beaufort, with Queen Quet of the Gullah Geechee Nation, who describes to me the challenge that they face in the Low Country. Every time that it rains, it floods. They are bearing the brunt of climate change, caused not by God, not by Mother Nature, but by all of us, our emissions, our inaction in the face of the facts and the science. So when she tells us her story, when she tells us our story, let us meet that with our commitment to free ourselves from a dependence on fossil fuels, to embrace renewable energy technology, and to keep this planet from warming so much that it is uninhabitable for the generations that follow. And then right here in Columbia, walking the grounds of the State House with the House Minority Leader, who tells me that if we cannot pull down the statue that honors Ben Tillman, a white nationalist terrorist, then we should at least tell the full story of what he did to the people of this state and make sure that we elevate the stories of those on whose backs the wealth and the greatness and the success of this country was built in the first place. It is only when we tell everyone's story that this country is going to live to its full potential. It is only by bringing everyone in that we defeat Donald Trump and bring this country together and achieve our true success as a country. Thank you, South Carolina, for having us out. Thank you, South Carolina Democrats. Gracias y nos vemos. Thank you. Thank you.